Wait, you can live like that? If you've read it, you know, and I felt slightly called out. So sad about it. I got through this in like 2 days. Needed this book at that time. Hi there! If you're watching this video and you clicked on my face, you've probably had a voice in your head saying, let's quit my 9 to 5. Let's reinvent myself. Let's book a one-way ticket. Same. Welcome. I live in Brazil now, which is still so weird to say, but part of the reason I'm here and I made the step of moving abroad is because of these books. I'm going to talk about 5 books that basically bullied me into moving abroad because these stories just stuck with me. They entered my bloodstream until I couldn't not do anything. If you're feeling stuck or restless or feeling like you need to make a change or you're not living your real life, maybe these books will do the same thing they did for you that they did for me. I'm going to start with one of my all-time favorite books, and that's What I Was Doing While You Were Breeding by Kristen Newman. It's basically a woman in her 30s who looks around her and all of her friends are getting married or having babies, and she just isn't in that place in her life. So it's basically her traveling the world, going to all these different places, getting drunk, making out with strangers. It's one of those stories. The way she writes is just so real and raw and also just hilarious. I think I got through this in like 2 days, which was kind of hard for me to do because I just couldn't put it down. She goes to Argentina, she falls in love with a man in Brazil. It's very messy and down to earth, and it really made me think like, wow, wait, you can live like that? You can have those experiences? I think there's so much pressure to settle down in your 20s and 30s, get a job, crank out babies, do everything that you're supposed to do. But this book really released me from that and really gave me the permission to get out of my comfort zone. So I would really recommend starting with this one if you haven't and you're just looking for a fun read that really inspires you to get out of your comfort zone and go meet some people. Another one along the same lines, I don't have a physical book, but it's Wild by Cheryl Strayed, I believe. I read this one on an audiobook, and this book is about a woman kind of post-breakup, grieving, and she decides to do the Pacific Crest Trail, so walking from Canada to Mexico. It's another one of those books where you are released from your need for direction or need for planning. She does this whole thing on her own, and she learns a lot of lessons about herself and about the people around her, and I related to some of the emotions in this book. The idea that you need to just get away to really feel, and that's really what she does. She also has some really funny encounters, and it's a book that really just encourages you to take risks and do things on your own that scare you and what that can bring in the end. I can't make this video without talking about The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Again, I don't have this one with me. I left it in the States. So sad about it. The Alchemist, it's a classic. Everybody recommends this book, but it's really that girl. This book unlocked something in me that I didn't know needed unlocked. It's not even long. It reads literally like a fairy tale. It's about a boy searching for treasure across the desert, but there's so many lessons that I learned through this book. I learned that there's not one moment where you're gonna feel ready. Simply just go and you do, and that's how you begin feeling ready. When I read this book, I was still very much in my comfort zone, and I felt slightly called out. Basically, I felt like this book was like, you said you were waiting for your sign, so here it is. And the fact that Paulo Coelho is Brazilian feels like a full circle moment or something. But yeah, definitely recommend this book, and it's a classic for a reason. Speaking about Brazil, the 4th book is It Is Wood, It Is Stone by Gabriela Burnham or Bunyam. I'm not sure how you pronounce her last name. This is all about Brazil. It's based in São Paulo, the city where I'm living right now. And I read this while I was in Brazil, and it made me connect with Brazil in a whole new way. It's basically about a woman who moves to São Paulo. She's American. She moves to São Paulo because her husband has a teaching job here. The book isn't like that positive of a book because she kind of quietly comes undone and is faced with a lot of things about herself and about the way she views the world. It's incredibly moody and rich in a way, and the emotions are so in your face. This book definitely didn't glamorize Brazil, but at the time I kind of needed that. It made it look messy and complicated and beautiful and meaningful. That kind of made me connect with the country even more in this city. I think the lesson it really taught me was sometimes you don't really need a paradise. You actually need a place where you can be someone else to someone else, if that makes sense. When I read this book, it was at a time when I was kind of deconstructing my view of Brazil and living here, and it felt really messy, and I just needed this book at that time. The fifth and final book I'll talk about is Call Me By Your Name by Andre Ackerman. Not a seaman. Maybe it is. I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name, but by Andre. And this book hit me viscerally. If you've read it, you know. But beyond just the story that's going on, it made me want a slow, soft travel experience so bad. It's a very slow, it's drenched in sun, in countryside of Italy, and it made me ache for just a summer abroad. But it's basically about an Italian, French, American, Jewish family. Basically, his son and his parents are living in the Italian countryside, and the son is kind of groomed, kind of has a romance by an American that comes to study with his father. And it's basically their story throughout the summer. It has a lot of complicated emotion. I wouldn't call it a romance. I think it deals more about love than romance. It's basically the son wrestling with his first love and everything that comes with that. But read the book. It feels so cinematic. It feels so real. The writing is just stunning. It made me really fall in love with the little things living abroad. The little espresso in the morning, the little dip in a lake, learning another language and speaking it horribly. I think this book really made me want to kind of escape my reality and go somewhere where I could just exist a little more gently. This book, intellectually, also amazing, and it just stayed with me for so long, and it really made me want to leave my country, if I'm being honest. So yeah, these books definitely didn't give me a how-to of moving abroad, like a guide. I think they did something even more gut-wrenching. They made me feel like staying was impossible. If you've read any of these books, definitely let me know what you thought of them and what they did to you. Or tell me in the comments a book that made you daydream about leaving your country or traveling or seeing the world. I would love to know. Also, the last thing I'll say, if you've been having that gut feeling, if you've been having that weight on your chest about leaving, about doing something different, and you're scared, this is your sign. This is your sign to go for it, because it'll all work out in the end. And you can always make more money. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more living abroad content and my life in Brazil. Yeah, ciao.